Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something. When a woman lives alone with no boyfriend, no situationship, no late night text, no drama, some folks start asking questions. She must be lonely. She can't keep a man. What's wrong with her? Well, let me straighten that out today. A woman who chooses to live alone without a boyfriend, she ain't broken. She ain't bitter. She sure ain't bored. She's focused. People throw the word independent around like it's just a buzzword, but let me break it down for you. When a woman is truly independent, I'm talking about the kind of independence where she lives alone, handles her business, and chooses to live without boyfriends just to avoid unnecessary noise. That's not loneliness. That's power. But you know what the world does? It confuses solitude with sadness. They see a woman walking into a restaurant by herself, holding her head up high, ordering her meal, enjoying her time, and they whisper, poor thing, she's all alone. They see her with no ring on her finger, no man pulling up to pick her up, and they assume something's wrong. Let me tell you something right now. There is nothing wrong with a woman who stands on her own 2 feet. There is nothing lacking in a woman who chooses herself every single day, because that kind of independence, that is a choice. That is a mindset. That is not a woman who got left behind. That's a woman who decided to lead her own life, not follow someone else's mess. See, people are uncomfortable with a woman they can't define by a relationship. Society gets all shaken up when they can't put a label on her like so-and-so's girlfriend or his wife. But let me ask you this. Why does a woman need to have a man beside her to be validated? Why do people act like a woman living alone is some sort of tragedy? No. That woman is free. She has her own keys, her own rules, her own vibe. She wakes up when she wants, sleeps when she wants, decorates her place the way she likes, and doesn't have to explain herself to nobody. She isn't lonely. She's liberated. That woman made a decision. She said, if I can't find a relationship that adds to my peace, I'll keep my peace. She said, if loving someone else means losing myself, then I'd rather stay whole. That ain't weakness. That ain't sadness. That's strength. That's courage. And don't think it's because she can't get a man. That's the funniest part. She could have 10 dudes lined up with just one text. But it's a thing, she doesn't need just any man. She needs the right one. The one who respects her boundaries. The one who knows how to communicate like an adult. The one who's not intimidated by her strength, her mind, or her ambition. She's not holding out for perfection. She just refuses to invite chaos into her life. She doesn't chase love. She attracts it by being exactly who she is. Unapologetically. And if love comes, it comes. But until then, she ain't losing sleep over it, because she knows that what she's building, her career, her peace of mind, her dreams, is too valuable to be distracted by somebody who just wants temporary attention. Now, let me tell you, independence don't mean she never gets lonely. Everybody feels that sometimes. But the difference is she doesn't let that loneliness lower her standards. She doesn't go running into the arms of the wrong one just to fill the silence. She faces it, she grows through it, and when she does get into a relationship one day, it's not going to be out of desperation. It'll be out of desire, out of choice, out of shared respect. That's the beauty of real independence. It teaches you how to love yourself so completely that you don't accept halfway love from anyone else. It teaches you that your own company is not a curse, is a privilege. You get to know your thoughts, your habits, your dreams, your flaws, and you get to work on yourself. Uninterrupted. People forget this part. It takes strength to be alone. It takes discipline to stay away from distractions. It takes self-awareness to realize that your time and energy are sacred. And when a woman masters that, she becomes magnetic. Not because she's waiting to be saved, but because she already saved herself. So don't confuse independence with isolation. Don't confuse solitude with sadness. A woman who lives alone and still smiles, still grows, still thrives, she's not lonely. She's just too powerful to waste her life proving it to the wrong people. I want you to listen carefully because this is something every woman, especially those living alone, needs to understand. A woman doesn't need validation to be whole. You see, in this world, people are quick to measure a woman's worth based on who she's with. If she's single, they think there's something missing, something she hasn't figured out. But let me tell you, she's figured it out. She's figured out that her worth doesn't come from someone else's opinion, approval, or affection. It comes from her own self-understanding, her own self-respect, and her own self-love. A woman who doesn't rely on validation from a partner or from society standards is a woman who understands that her whole, full, and complete. She doesn't need anyone to fill a space inside her because that space was never empty in the first place. Think about it. When a woman knows her worth, she doesn't allow the world to tell her what she should feel, what she should look like, or who she should be with. She's not waiting for someone else to complete her because she's already complete. That's why she doesn't need the constant affirmation or attention that others may seek. She is her own biggest fan. Her confidence isn't built on being seen or heard by others. It's built on knowing who she is, being comfortable with herself, and understanding her purpose in life. You can't shake her confidence because it doesn't come from external sources. It comes from within. Now, I'll tell you something else. People will try to make a woman feel like something's wrong because she's not seeking a relationship at every turn. They might say, you're too independent, or why don't you let someone in? But here's the thing. She knows she's worthy, whether or not someone else sees it. Her value is not up for negotiation. If someone can't see her worth, that's their loss, not hers. And it doesn't matter if she's dating or not. She doesn't need a boyfriend to feel seen, to feel valuable, or to feel whole. She is her own source of validation. And here's where the next point comes in. Solitude builds strength, clarity, and standards. You can't understand your true worth if you're constantly surrounded by noise, whether it's other people's opinions, distractions, or expectations. When a woman lives alone, she has time, she has space. She has the opportunity to sit with herself, reflect, and become clearer about what she wants out of life and relationships. This solitude allows her to strengthen her connection with herself. She knows what she likes, what she dislikes, what she can tolerate, and what she absolutely cannot. And more importantly, she builds standards. She has no room for nonsense, no room for people who don't respect her time, her boundaries, or her values. People will come into your life and they'll try to change things, shift the vibe, or make you feel like you should settle for less than you deserve. But a woman who has spent time on her own knows exactly what she's willing to accept and what she won't. Her standards aren't just about checking boxes. They're about what she will allow into her life that respects her peace, her growth, and her future. Solitude makes a woman strong enough to say no when she needs to and to walk away from situations that don't serve her. Now, some people will try to say, but don't you get lonely? Sure, she gets lonely. Everybody does at some point, but loneliness doesn't scare her. Loneliness doesn't push her into the arms of the wrong person just to fill a void. She knows that her peace, her clarity, and her growth are far more valuable than settling for a relationship that might not align with her future. And the longer she stays in solitude, the stronger her clarity becomes. She realizes that relationships should add to her life, not complicate it. And when the right person comes along, she's not desperate for company. She's looking for partnership. She's looking for someone who matches her vibe, her ambitions, and her energy. You see, solitude allows her to strengthen her inner core. It gives her time to listen to her thoughts, her feelings, and her intuition. That's where she builds the foundation for her standards. It's from this place of self-understanding that she can make better choices, not just in relationships, but in every aspect of her life. She can pursue the career she wants without feeling the pressure of someone else's expectations. She can explore her passions and her hobbies without needing someone to validate them. She can live her life to the fullest on her terms because she knows exactly who she is and what she wants. And that strength is not just emotional strength, it's mental and spiritual strength too. Solitude is not about being afraid to be alone. It's about embracing the opportunity to grow, to evolve, and to be clear about what your life should look like. When a woman builds herself up this way, she doesn't just survive, she thrives. She becomes unstoppable. And nothing, not loneliness, not societal pressures, not anyone's opinions, nothing can take that power away from her. There's a misconception out there that living alone somehow means there's something missing from your life. Society, for some reason, equates being single with being incomplete. But let me make one thing clear. Living alone is not a lack. It's a choice for peace. It's a conscious decision to choose serenity over chaos, calm over noise, and independence over dependence. A woman who lives alone is not defined by what's absent from her life. She's defined by what she's created for herself. She's created space, literal and figurative, to breathe, to reflect, and to grow. That space is sacred. She's not lonely. She's cultivating peace in her own environment. You see, living alone gives a woman the opportunity to thrive without interference. No one is dictating the rhythm of her day. No one's opinions are drowning out her own inner voice. She's in control of her own schedule, her own decisions, and her own life. That's not a lack, it's freedom. It's the freedom to be who you are without compromise, to make choices that align with your values and not with someone else's expectations. She can sit in her own thoughts, find clarity, and realize her worth without the noise of someone else's insecurities or demands. When a woman lives alone, she's creating an environment where peace can flourish. And trust me, peace is priceless. Now, this next point is one that needs to be shouted from the rooftops. Self-worth is not defined by relationship status. It doesn't matter if you're single, dating, or married. Your value isn't based on your relationship status. Your worth is inherent. It's tied to who you are, your character, your integrity, your goals, and the love you give to yourself. It's a tragedy when people think their worth is determined by whether or not they're in a relationship. You know why? Because that means your value is tied to external factors. What someone else thinks of you, how someone else treats you. That's dangerous, because if that person doesn't show you respect, if that relationship doesn't honor your needs, then you're left feeling less than, like you don't measure up. But let me tell you, you always measure up. Whether or not you're with someone doesn't change that. A woman who lives alone knows that her value is constant, unshakable, and unwavering. She doesn't need someone to make her feel whole or valuable. She knows she is whole. She knows she's valuable. She doesn't need a relationship to define her. She defines herself. That kind of strength comes from within and it's built over time. A woman who knows her worth walks through the world with her head held high because she doesn't seek approval from anyone. She knows her value and she's not going to let anyone take that away from her. She's not going to settle for a relationship where she feels small, overlooked, or disrespected. She knows that being in the wrong relationship is worse than being single. And because of that, she never compromises on her standards. Which leads me to this next point. Don't settle. Know your value and protect your space. Too many people, especially women, settle for relationships that don't honor their worth simply because they're afraid of being alone. They're told that they should be in a relationship, that they should be with someone to complete them. But here's the thing. You don't need to complete anyone, and no one needs to complete you. You're already complete. You're already whole. The right relationship should add to your life, not fill a gap, not erase a loneliness, not act as a distraction from what's truly important. If someone doesn't bring value to your life, if they don't support your growth, your dreams, or your peace, then what's the point? A woman who understands her value doesn't waste time with relationships that drain her energy, that make her feel like she has to prove herself, or that make her feel like she's not good enough. She knows that her time is precious. She knows that her energy is too important to be spent on someone who doesn't appreciate her. She's not afraid of being alone because she's learned that her peace is worth more than someone who can't match her energy. And that's powerful. When you know your worth, you protect your space fiercely. You protect your peace, your energy, and your heart. You don't allow people in who are going to bring chaos, negativity, or drama into your life. You set boundaries and you keep them. If you're a woman who's living alone and maybe people are asking you why you don't have a boyfriend, remind them that your peace is your priority. You're not missing anything. What's missing are people who understand that peace is the foundation of happiness. You're not afraid of being alone because you understand that solitude is the breeding ground for growth, for clarity, and for strength. You are not settling for less than you deserve, and you never will. Protecting your space, your energy, and your peace is non-negotiable. And when the right person does come along, they'll respect that. They'll understand that you've built your life in a way that values your own growth, and they'll add to it, never take away from it. When a woman lives alone, some people might look at her with a sense of pity or wonder if she's missing something. But let me tell you, that woman is not lacking. She's thriving. Independence is power, not loneliness. She's got the freedom to live life on her terms, and that's a strength most people don't fully understand. People seem to think that if you're not coupled up, you're somehow incomplete, but the reality is independence is the most liberating thing a woman can experience. When you live alone, you're not at the mercy of anyone's mood, schedule, or behavior. You can make decisions without compromising your values. You can build a life that works for you, not one that's shaped by someone else's expectations or desires. Independence doesn't mean you're isolated or lonely. It means you are in full control of your world. What the world misses is that independence brings strength. A woman who can live alone, take care of herself, manage her responsibilities, and build her future without constantly relying on someone else is someone who knows her worth. It's empowering to know you're not bound by anyone's opinion or dictated by anyone else's actions. Independence creates space for self-discovery, for growth, and for creating a life that aligns with your deepest desires. And that's power. It means you don't need to be in a relationship to feel validated or to feel whole. You know exactly who you are, and that makes you untouchable. And then there's this idea of validation. A woman doesn't need validation to be whole. Too often we see women searching for external approval, looking for someone else to tell them they're beautiful, smart, worthy, or loved. But here's the truth. No one can define your worth except for you. A woman who understands her value doesn't wait for a partner, a friend, or even society to validate her. She knows that her worth is intrinsic and unshakable. Her beauty isn't tied to the compliments she receives. Her strength isn't reliant on anyone's praise. She doesn't need to be in a relationship to feel fulfilled. She's already full. She doesn't wait for someone to tell her she's good enough. She knows she is. This kind of mindset is freeing. When a woman no longer seeks validation, she becomes untouchable. No one can shake her confidence or make her doubt herself. She doesn't need a man to tell her she's beautiful because she already knows it. She doesn't need someone to tell her she's capable because she has proven it time and time again. She is her own biggest fan, and that confidence shines from the inside out. It's that kind of internal validation that gives her the power to set boundaries, make tough decisions, and walk away from situations that no longer serve her. She doesn't need anyone's approval to live her best life. Now let's talk about solitude. A woman who lives alone gets the chance to really get to know herself. And that's an opportunity that many people never get. Solitude builds strength, clarity, and standards. When you have time alone, you get to sit with your thoughts. You get to hear your own voice and make decisions based on your own desires, not what others want from you. And that's powerful. It means you can shape your life in a way that aligns with your true self without the distractions of what other people think or need. Being alone doesn't mean you're weak or that you can't